Well, here's the going today from the Tikkun elevator Kollel. I want to bring this down closer so that we can really understand that what we're talking about is the word ner right here. We're going to see this. I'm just going to go over it real quickly because we're going to see it in words. And these are shiluvim. This is Akia, Havaya. Then the next one is Havaya Elokem and Havaya Adni. These are things we have to understand, that when we're saying the word ner, that's what it is, all these letters. Is that possible? But that's their gematria, comes to the gematria of 250, which is the gematria of ner. Now we saw yesterday this one too, which is another composite. It's different. It's not explained out exactly what it accomplished, but I wanted you to be able to see it and be able to look at it and have an idea of how this is interspersed. And this is definitely something to be mekavein. Then we go back over here to the word lahadlik. So lahadlik, these are things that we saw. We're about to read about them in a minute. So the word lahadlik, it really represents av, sag, uma, which is the same thing he's saying as chabad, chagat, nai. Chabad, chagat, nai. When you light that ner, here's the ner. Let me get back to it again. When you light this ner, right, these two ideas come together. Okay, this is the flow of light, and we're going to be talking about this a little bit as we go forward. All right, let's go back to the Rav. And as we said before, we've done this before, this is the Tivuk Avanos and the Pirush of Tivuk Avanos, and this is just an absolutely tremendous sefer to bring this more to light to us. So, Nachzor Levracha Rishona K'moshe Amarno. Let's go back and talk about the first bracha that we were talking about. Gibit Techila, because of the beginning. The Kavein B'milas Lahadlik. Right? We saw Lahadlik. Hadladlik is, and he's going to explain it. Shuhu Begimatria Shlosha Vayus Av Sagma. V'tikavein Lahamshik Shlosha Vayus Al Yedeh Hadlokazu. And the idea is that you are going to extreme down these Havayas through the concept of Hadloka. Hadloka causes this. And what are you being modlik? You're modeling the concept of the ner, and those are those drawings that we saw here, those depictments. And where are they going? They're going to the Nukvach HaNikvas Havaya the Ben. Now, one more time, looking back in the back here, the very back, and we're trying to get there. Or maybe I went too far. Here we go. Notice that if you take these, this is the ner, right? It's Gematria 250, Gematria ner. It goes to the Nukva the Zeranf and this Malchus, and this is what Malchus looks like. So the idea is a pouring in of these lights into Malchus. These lights are also called Mochin. We'll get to that in another time. We'll see at a different place. So now he says, let's read the Tiv and let's go over, and I think we're on number, am I in the right place? Here's the right place. So he says, V'nachzor the bracha b'rishona k'moshe amarno. Let's go back to that bracha, like we said, give it the chilit the kabeh b'midat lahadlik. The first thing is to have in mind the word lahadlik, and we just showed you what hadlik, the gematria of lahadlik. Just peel back on the video, and you could see it. So v'ata choyzer harad l'gavanas and iskarim la'el. So now it's going back to those gavanas. Be'bracha rishona b'milas lahadlik in the first bracha, on the milah of lahadlik of b'milas ner, and the word ner. Okay, so we saw what they actually look like with the gematria, because he says a principle here that the gematria really shows you the interconnection between things, and that things that don't look like they're the same really are. So maskil anta the vayra kavana. So now we're going to come and explain the kavana. What your actually kavana should be when you say the word lahadlik. Shuhu begematria shlosha chavayus az av sag umem oma. That's what we saw in our drawing. The kaven shemila is lahadlik begematria shlosha chavayus. So since it comes and it's excuse me, not kaven, it's yekaven. That when you say this word lahadlik, that you should have in mind that it has the three havayas in it: havaya the av, havaya the sag, and havaya the ben. Just thinking about this is actually putting you much, much closer to the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. The tev is lahadlik ima koilel ola kufpei, because the word lahadlik, comes to 179, and then its root, its panemius, comes to the number 180. Communion of Saguma. If you add up 72, 63, and 45, you're going to get to 180. So here we see that Lahadlik is also Asam. So that by lighting the candles itself is the process of bringing the streaming down of these oros, of these lights. These are actually mochim. So had the idea that you're going to be bringing down these three havayos, the av, v'sag, and the ma, which you could see in the word lahadlik, because that's the gematria of lahadlik. And where is it going? Ela nukva. It goes to the female attribute. This is male going to female. He giving, she receiving. El anakuva nikros havaya the ben, and she's called the havaya the ben. V'loha'ayr zos el hanuk, and then to shine this. Then take these three havayas, shine them into nukva the zer anpin, b'milui heya. And this is what the nukva the zer anpin looks like. So you have the havaya, and this is the havaya the ben. Yud vav dalet kk vav vav kk. Gematria Ben. And we mentioned before that Ben is the pronunciation system for this, for Malchus, is pronounced Ben. The Ashkenaz pronounce it Ban. And that would be the pronunciation, say the difference between the pronunciation of the Abu Chatzeros and the Vilna Gaon. So he says, Ha'ola Misbar Ben. And now we're starting to stream down to it these three havayos. We don't have. It just adds in. You don't have to stream it to a havaya the ben, because it is ben. Hihi atzmanik was havaya the ben. Yuvor lakomon. Now this whole issue, and I don't know why he brought it up. Maybe we'll see it a little bit later. He says uvenilas ner. When we get to the word ner. Now, what about ner? So you have an idea that through this imshacha that's coming from this hahadlik, which is coming into this ben, of a milas ner, by streaming these mochin, that we're now bringing these mochin into the nuk, and the shlosha havayas av saguma, that's what's going into the nuk now. Tishtalim b'shloshacha yehudim in Iskarim, they will be completed by these yehudim that we set up above, al yedei shloshacha yehudim in Iskarim. So these three yehudim that we have mentioned, that we mentioned them la'el shehem havaya ekia, havaya elokim, and havaya adni. Just in case that you forgot, we're going to flash it back to you again. With God's help, a little bit here. Here is ner, once again. And here is lahadlik. Lahadlik, that's the gematria. Ner, these three shiluvim are the gematria. Let's see if is there any more here for me to do today. Let me see if there's a little bit more. Of Amilas ner tekavin sha'al yedecham shachazu. So the word well, Amilas ner tekavin sha'al yedecham shachas mochim elu sha'anim mamshichan the nuk, that what we're streaming down to the nuk, hainu shlosha havayas av saguma tishtalim b'shlosha yechudim in this karim, that they're going to be completed then. La'el. So he says, how is this? He says, ayidei shlosha yechudim, which composed, that is havaya ekia, havaya elokim, havaya adni. Those gematrias make the word ner. Haniskarim la'el shuchu havaya ekia, havaya elokim, havaya adni. Again, tishtalam anuk. The nuk becomes completed as a result of all of this. And what you want to do, when the idea of the nuk is so important, because the nuk is the one who gives birth. If we're talking in the spiritual sense, she gives birth to the neshamas of the Jews. If you're talking about in the physical sense, well, she makes children. So he says, and these three yechudim, one for the head, one for the body, that is chabad chagat nai, and the lower part. All of this becomes into oneness. And this makes it into the aspect of what is called the Ner Chanukah. Shehu Kaminyan Shloshach Yehudim in Iskarim, which is actually the count of these three Yehudim. Va'az ta'asach anok bechinas ner Chanukah, she becomes a ner. She's lit with these names of Saguma. She becomes a flame with these Yehudim. Because of the names that are pulled into the Nuk. That is Haina Av Saguma. Sha'olam b'meka misbar lahadlik, and they come to the gematria of lahadlik na'aser bechinas ner Chanukah. So the hadlik makes a ner Chanukah. We know what the ner looks like. She'ner begematria kol shloshach yechudim commotion is boyer is those three yechudim kol sheluvim that we mentioned before. This is Baruch Fleischman at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. This is the first day of Chanukah.